welcome to this urgent explainer. We're currently tracking a rapidly developing situation, a real-time report on a digital connection attempt that literally millions of people kick off every single day. Based on the incoming intelligence we've got, we're looking at the exact protocol that stands between a user's local setup and a highly secured high-traffic server. Honestly, think of this not just as a loading screen, but as a heavily guarded digital border crossing. Sure, in the real world, it might only take 5 seconds, but in digital time, that's practically a geopolitical crisis. We have the data on exactly what happens in those critical fractions of a second, and we're going to break it all down for you right now, exactly as it unfolds.
Just a moment. That simple phrase is the very first piece of intel we receive when initiating contact. It sounds polite, right? Very conversational. But in the context of this real-time connection status, it's an absolute command. It signals an immediate holding pattern. You've knocked on the digital door, and before any substantial data gets exchanged, the system forces a pause. It's this moment of total mystery and high anticipation, because behind those 3 words, automated systems are actively interrogating the incoming connection, trying to figure out if it's actually safe to proceed.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're looking at a rapid-fire chronological sequence here. What feels like a simple blink of an eye to us is actually a wildly complex, multi-stage digital handshake. Notice how we started 0 milliseconds with a pause. That's that initial holding pattern we were just talking about. Then, in less time than it takes to process a thought, boom, we hit the 500 millisecond mark, the clearance phase where verification triggers. And finally, right around the 1 second mark, we hit the handoff. That's where the local connection gets put in a waiting queue for the destination server to physically respond. Guys, every single micro-event in this timeline represents a massive, coordinated security and routing operation happening entirely behind the scenes.
And we just got a major status update coming in. The system reports verification successful. This is essentially the breaking headline of our connection attempt. Out of all the potential outcomes, blocks, timeouts, security flags, the critical security clearance phase has officially and successfully been passed. The automated guards have checked the credentials of the incoming request, and they've given the green light. We're getting a direct look at the invisible security perimeter that operates 24/7. Now that this message has hit the wire, the whole nature of the connection shifts from a defensive posture to an active routing posture.
Now, what's really interesting about this intel is the stark juxtaposition. On one hand, we have the system status, waiting for the server to respond. The verification is totally done, and now we're just sitting in an automated server queue. The ball is entirely in the destination server's court, but simultaneously, the system is issuing immediate user requirements. Enable JavaScript and cookies to continue. This is a really crucial piece of intelligence. The connection isn't just a one-way street. Even as we're waiting for the server is demanding that specific, mandatory local conditions be met on our end. It is a brilliant look at how modern web security absolutely demands mutual cooperation.
So let's take a step back and review the current situation on the ground, based on the data we've gathered so far. Number 1, the initial automated pause is complete. Number 2, security verification has been explicitly confirmed as successful. Right now, the primary server response is in a pending state. And finally, the specific environmental requirements for the user have been identified and logged. This is our complete situational awareness brief. Everything on the server side is functioning precisely according to protocol. So, the ball is moving back to the user's court. Let's see how this all builds into our final action plan.
So the crucial point is this exact actionable procedure. The intelligence has handed us a non-negotiable checklist for moving forward. Step 1, JavaScript must be enabled. That's the engine that allows the dynamic interface to actually function. Step 2, cookies must be enabled. This acts as your ongoing security badge and session memory. Step 3, only when those 2 local conditions are actually met can a user continue. Basically, we've taken the raw technical status updates and translated them into a mandatory survival guide for finalizing this digital connection. Because if these steps aren't followed to the letter, well, that successful verification we saw earlier means absolutely nothing.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for this briefing. We've tracked the connection from the initial pause, through the rigorous security verification, right down to the local browser demands. The system has done its part, but a successful connection completely requires compliance on both sides of the screen. So, based on the urgent intel we've just unpacked together, are your JavaScript and cookies enabled? If you were initiating this sequence right now, would your system pass the final test, or would your connection flatline at the very last moment? Keep your systems ready and stay curious.